And we are live again, back on TikTok for more discussions and debates. Let's keep it going, and let's try and keep it cool today. Hope everyone's keeping cool out there. It's pretty hot. So what should we talk about today? Well, I think that one of the main reasons that people are struggling to understand extinction and the need for it is that they're not actually really aware of all of the extreme suffering going on. They're not actually aware of just how extreme suffering can be. I think in a lot of cases, it is difficult for people to understand, for most people to understand, just how extreme pain and suffering can be if they've never experienced it themselves. So unfortunately, that is the current situation, where people are literally unaware of just how bad the extreme suffering going on in the world is. So that is literally one of the main problems for why they don't understand the need for extinction. And you can see it when they come up on the show. They're saying stuff like, is a stubbed toe really that bad? So this is leading me to see that, quite clearly that they are just simply unaware. It's not that they necessarily, obviously they don't care. Most people don't care. But I think part of that, right, is an ignorance, an unawareness of all of the extreme suffering, just how bad it can be, how pervasive it is, how regular and common it is as well. And just how bad animals suffer, right? Most people clearly are not aware of how badly animals suffer in nature. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm still thinking about that, but I think like euthanasia is better than extreme. What we were saying again about extinction. Yeah, that was the word. Yeah, I think euthanasia is better, and trying to make not real meat for the other animals so they could eat from it. And
But the problem is that, they still get illnesses, they still get diseases, they still get accidents. There are
yeah,
still
but still,
psychopaths and criminals that are going to attack them. There's natural disasters, they burn alive in wildfires. So
but
you
if we
can't.
had have been more, how can you say it, scientifically evolved, I think we could like control the environment around us, so we could make it like, okay,
Well, we should make it so that there's no life in unsafe conditions, basically.
but what if we make the suffering bearable? Like not
But
really suffering,
the thing is, you can't. How are you going to do that? How are you going to guarantee that there's no extreme suffering? You can't do that without
by
extinction.
euthanasia. Like
But
if there is an
you
only
can't
way.
always do that. It's not foolproof, right? And also, nobody should have to suffer to then have to be euthanized, right? That's not a good system. It's not a foolproof system. It allows for a lot of extreme suffering, and they may not be able to get the euthanasia. So, that's not a foolproof solution, whereas extinction is.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about this idea about extinction, but I feel like making life less miserable is maybe better.
Well, it's like I was just saying, most people are not really thinking about how extreme suffering can be. They're not aware of it. And so that lack of awareness really leads people to think that, there's no urgency, that, we don't really need extinction, that life existing in unsafe conditions is okay, because they're just not aware of the consequences.
No,
And,
it's
and
not okay, but we can create more safety for those animals, I guess.
But why
We
shouldn't
can
we
create.
have total safety, right? So what animals and all life deserves is the highest level of safety possible. And again, unless you can suggest a way to guarantee that it's physically impossible to ever go wrong, that it's 100% safety, then it's not acceptable. It's not good enough. It still has infinite danger, right? You're still going to put lives in extreme danger. And for what reason, right? So that some can have fun, but that's just not ethical. It's not fair.
I don't know. But yeah, that was the idea. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming up. But look, if we lived in a paradise where there was no suffering, no danger, then it would be a different story. But that's the thing, is that most people have this fantasy that we're currently living in that now, but we're not. That's the problem. So again, they're just unaware of how bad suffering can be. They're unaware of how many are going through a life where it's so excruciatingly painful that they're begging for death every single moment. Right? Nobody should have to go through that, where their entire life is just begging for death. But that does happen very often, extremely often. And, is it justifiable? No, absolutely not. I just don't see how anyone can say that, there's no urgency to prevent life being, forced into extremely dangerous conditions. Again, extinction, we could start it today. It's an existing solution that provides 100% safety. If there's no animals on the planet, then there is zero possibility of animals suffering on the planet, especially if we do prevention of life evolving and coming back. So that is infinitely safer. It's obvious, infinitely safer and perfectly, totally safe. Whereas there is nothing else that can provide that level of safety, that guarantee of no bad lives, no animal, begging for death in excruciating pain for every second, every moment, or even if it's not, every single moment, it can still be, overwhelmingly bad to where you would be better off not being forced into that, because it's the ultimate harm, right? It's not something that's trivial. It's not something it's not that bad. It's quite literally the worst thing possible, right? There is literally nothing worse than being trapped in a life of extreme pain and extreme hell, extreme suffering. So it's not acceptable, right? It's literally the most unacceptable thing imaginable, basically. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. I have a question.
Go for it.
Why haven't you done it to yourself then? Why are you preaching about it if you could just start with
Yeah,
yourself?
because we should help those who can't help themselves, right? Like animals.
So you're saying start with animals first and then humans?
Yeah. Animals.
So after all the animals are gone, then you would do it to yourself?
Well, we would do total extinction as the priority.
Who would have the authority to start that? Because they wouldn't, in order to engage in that, you'd have to do it to someone else.
Yeah, well, to join the movement, we have to vet you and check that you're a rational person, that you're not a crazy person, a violent person. And yeah, our activists are coming together to make extinction possible.
I guess I'm not asking how to join the movement. I'm saying when it's time to start the process of extinction, if you are not actively doing it to yourself, you're doing it to somebody else, right? Like if you're pulling the trigger to set it all off, you are doing it to someone else. So who gives that person the authority to do it?
The pro-extinction movement, or the pro-extinction government, basically.
So the pro-extinction government has the authority to hurt other people but not themselves?
Yeah, but we'd be working towards total extinction where there's absolutely no life.
So it sounds like you're going to keep hurting everyone else.
Well, no, that's what life is doing. So we're trying to prevent all of the hurting.
Yeah. So why do you guys have the utmost authority? Because it sounds like, oh, I love the movement, but I can't do it myself first.
There's no such thing as authority, really, except for within an organization. So that's what we're building, an organization of responsible people. And that creates some level of authority, I suppose.
Because it is you see the disconnect here? You're saying there's nothing as authority, but us responsible people are allowed
to... How would I get that authority then, to do the right thing?
The authority is doing it to yourself first. If you truly believe that suffering is horrible,
but there's lots of animals and people that can't help themselves. So you're suggesting we just leave them to suffer.
But you can't help yourself. You know this is a problem. Therefore,
so what about the others? What about those who can't help themselves?
Is that your problem? You doing it to yourself. You doing it to yourself is also contributing.
Are you saying that we should just let them suffer?
I'm saying you have the ability to stop yourself from suffering. So
why didn't you answer the question?
No, I am answering the question.
I'm
I'm
going to
saying
give you one last
you.
chance to answer that question. So
Oh,
are
okay,
you
there you
saying we
go.
should just let them suffer?
Yes, let them suffer, and you can start with yourself
So why should they suffer?
because you can fix yourself first.
So what's that got to do with it?
Nothing, but you're
So
more
it's got
important.
nothing to do with it. So
You
what are
have
you
authority
talking
over your
about?
own life, therefore you can start yourself first.
But I'd rather
That's
help others. I'd rather help
exactly.
others.
You'd rather not. It's that simple. Now you
No,
can cut. It's
it's
fine.
no. You're twisting my. That's not what I
You
said.
just said I'd rather not. You just
No.
said
I
that right
said I would
now.
rather help others.
You'd rather help others,
Yeah.
but you are hurting them by killing them. Why can't you start with yourself?
Well, their life is doing that to them already. So it's going
Exactly, and it's doing it to you,
happen
right?
a lot worse and a
Is
lot
it not
more.
doing it to yourself? Are you not also getting hurt by life?
Well, again, you clearly have a very selfish mentality, and you're trying to project that onto me, right? So that again just shows the level of selfishness that most people have, right? Unfortunately. So yeah, he was trying to persuade me to be selfish. It's not going to happen. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I have one question.
Go for it.
Will you die a martyr, James? For the
I don't know.
movement?
I don't know. We'll see.
You gotta have a martyrdom for your movement to be more out there.
No.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Let me just ban you from the stream permanently. Goodbye. Look at that. She's gone. Yeah, we're against violence. We're against self-harm. We are strictly for peaceful activism only. Violence is really for unintelligent people, and it's not actually helpful for growing a movement of rational people. Why was she banned? Because she was literally advocating for violence, which is against the law. And, we're not advocating for violence. We're advocating for peaceful activism only. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I just want to kind of understand what's going on here. So, do you want everyone to be unalived?
We want a world where it's impossible for anyone to suffer, and the only way for that to happen is with extinction.
So, yes, you want every human to be unalived.
Well, that's going to happen anyway, and it's going to keep happening unless we stop it.
Why is it going to happen?
Because that's what happens in life, right? You live your life and then you pass away. Did you not know that?
No, yeah, I mean, you're saying, I'm referring to extinction. So you're saying extinction is going to happen one way or another, so we should just do it now, or?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, we have to do it in order to protect the victims from suffering.
So, like, I'm not suffering right now. Okay. Would you say that that's like a selfish position of mine to say that, like, I'm not suffering, so we shouldn't unalive everyone?
Yeah, because you're not thinking about those who are suffering.
Okay. So you're saying, this isn't like any sort of eugenics, is it? This has no basis in eugenics, it's just suffering.
What's eugenics got to do with it?
Well, I'm just curious.
Why do you ask?
Why do I ask? Because eugenics is pretty bad, isn't it?
So what's that got to do with anything?
That's why I'm asking if your basis here is like eugenics, like who is suffering? What kind of people? Is it anyone who's suffering?
Lots of people with like depression, chronic pain, family abuse, injuries, illnesses, cancer, right? There's lots of suffering going on. Animals eat each other alive, right? So it's like I said at the start of the stream, people are just unaware of all of the suffering. Like this guy, he says, what suffering are you talking about? He's unaware of all of the extreme suffering in the world.
I just wanted to kind of see like what you're referring to when you're saying suffering. So like if my father has cancer and he might beat it, but he's suffering from it, you think he should be unalived?
Well, I think, unless you have zero life and zero possibility of life, then there's always going to be a risk of extreme suffering. So he could suffer from something worse than cancer, or potentially his cancer could make him suffer to a point where he'd be better off not experiencing that. Yeah.
So even like yourself, for example, it doesn't appear that you're suffering. Do you not want to be alive?
Well, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. and that's assumptive, right? And that's what we do with, life. That's what we do with animals. You just assume they're not suffering, but that's like an irresponsible thing to do, actually, because you're just ignoring all of the actual suffering which is happening. So,
Do you not want to be alive?
but why do you have to make it personal? Is it because you can't actually engage on the topic?
Well, I mean, you're saying you're advocating for total extinction. So,
Yeah. So, well, yeah. So everything would be better off with the safety of non-existence, basically, because the alternative is infinite danger, and you don't want that danger to happen to you, basically. You really don't. But it is happening all around us all the time, and it could happen to any of us at any time.
so how would you go about forcefully causing total extinction of all life?
So step one is to grow the movement, basically, getting enough people together to make it possible. Then we would
Okay.
start with animals and work our way up.
So, dive a little deeper for me, if you would. So we would start unaliving, causing extinction in animals,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah, and we would also see if there's anything we can do to cause the most vast and thorough extinction possible, basically. So the maximum level of safety that we can provide. And that could take a long time to do. It could go beyond Earth, but we might be able to pass that job on to AI and robots and have human extinction sooner rather than later.
so I guess I just don't understand, the goal here, because
Is
you're
to
just,
prevent, the ultimate harm, basically, right? Is to prevent the worst thing possible from happening.
which is what?
Like a life of extreme hell where you're trapped in just misery and pain, and it's like hell, essentially. Can you name
Okay.
something worse than that?
No, I understand it. I mean, I guess it's hasn't even happened yet, and
What
you don't
hasn't
even
happened
know
yet?
if it's going to happen. So
What are you talking about?
you don't know that
What are
there's
you
life is
referring
going to
to?
be an extreme hell.
Oh, so you're unaware of the suffering that's going on in the world?
I'm not unaware of it. I mean, is that the
But
worst
you
hell
just
that
said
could
that there
be?
is there. You just said there isn't any.
No, you're saying. I think you're taking a little too extreme. You're saying
What
suffering
do you?
is the most extreme hell to exist.
Okay. Do you disagree with that?
I mean, I've suffered like in different degrees,
So
right? I mean, I could stub my toe, or I could.
your understanding and your awareness only extends to yourself. Is that right?
I mean,
Can
I
you not
haven't
think beyond?
experienced the
Can you not
suffering that
think
some
beyond
have.
yourself?
I haven't experienced the suffering like starving from, or I don't have like a
Okay,
home
so
or
you
anything.
can think of some more extreme suffering, things that are worse than what you've experienced, right?
Sure. So you're saying the only solution to that is just cause total extinction.
Yeah, because there's no way to guarantee, no more bad lives, basically, right? Without extinction, it's the only thing that provides certainty of safety. In the same way that if you have a child, it's literally impossible to guarantee safety for it. Whereas if you don't have one, it's completely guaranteed to be safe from a bad life.
Okay, I understand. So kind of to wrap up my point here, don't you think it's a little narrow-minded to say that, the only way to prevent the suffering that you're talking about is total extinction? I mean, don't you think we could use some sort of humanitarian program to try and reduce some of the
Yeah,
suffering?
the thing is, reducing suffering it's like a tool of oppression, basically. It's saying we're going to allow some suffering so that we can benefit from it. It's like you wouldn't end. It's like saying, let's not end slavery, let's reduce it a little bit because we still benefit from it.
Yeah, but we ended slavery.
Right, so we should end suffering as well, not just reduce it.
Yeah, but we didn't have to cause total extinction to end slavery. We used
Okay,
to,
but extinction solves a problem which is even worse than slavery, right? Extreme suffering, the ultimate harm, right? The worst thing possible.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know what when you say like the worst thing possible, I don't know what that is.
It's a life of pure hell, right? It happens to animals and people every day. Most animals get eaten alive as babies in nature. So that's not something you would want to experience, or it's not something you'd want your mother to experience. It's not something anyone should have to experience. Because
Okay,
the thing
so
is that nature is essentially the worst conditions possible with the most extreme suffering possible. Right? There's no medicine. You're just being chased by predators and then eaten alive, essentially.
so I guess the last 2 points I'll say, and then you can maybe drop me or bring someone else. I think it's a shame that you want to destroy like what we have on this. I mean, you want to destroy the earth.
Right, but the Earth doesn't suffer, right? So you're just proving that you don't care about the actual individuals who are suffering. You care more about just the species continuing, Earth continuing. It's not a responsible position. It completely ignores. It allows for infinite suffering if you're going to put Earth above those who are being tortured and suffering terribly.
Well, I'm not putting the earth above it. I'm saying that you're destroying. And I'm not religious. I'm actually
No,
I'm
it's not
atheist.
about destroying. It's about making the world safe so that everyone is safe from being forced into a life of extreme hell, right? Because that's what we should do. That's the only fair thing, the only right thing to do.
But you don't even have
more
like a
important
you don't even
than
have a
anything
safe
else.
world at that point. Everyone's gone.
Well, no, because essentially, imagine that we can create hell right now, right? And we could put people into it and torture them, right? If we close that hell down, right, that's a good thing. You're saying that we should keep hell open. That's not a good thing to do.
I don't think we're living in hell.
Well, yeah, but you're talking from a position of privilege, right? What about all of those who are living through hell right now?
Let's help them, and by not killing them.
But making hell impossible is better than allowing them to go through hell and then helping some of them. So again, it's like saying you would reduce slavery instead of ending it, right? So that it's not ethical.
One last question, actually. How would you go about unaliving me in this scenario?
Just however's best at the time, basically. The most ethical way possible, but we also have to be practical as well.
So what if I don't want? What if I don't agree? What if I don't listen? You'd hold me down and force it upon me?
Well, yeah, basically.
So I'll end with this. You're no better than Adolf Hitler.
Why? He wasn't trying to end all suffering and to protect people.
He was trying to murder people.
Yeah, but he
according to his agenda, his own agenda.
So he was trying to do evil things instead of provide safety. So
yes, you're trying to murder everyone and every living organism on the earth.
So if you think murder is bad, then we're actually stopping it from happening way more, right? This actually makes it impossible.
What do you mean? You're murdering everyone.
Right, but that's going to happen way more for billions of more years. So
won't.
You're literally against making murder impossible.
You've literally murdered every single living being on the earth.
Again, which option has more murder, right?
Yours.
Billions of years of more killing and murder, or just breaking that cycle. Which do you think?
Absolutely yours. You've murdered everything and everyone.
But you see, that's going to keep happening way worse unless we do this.
It won't. It definitely won't.
So how will it not happen? So for
how many murders occur on Earth?
For example, wild animals, right? Wild animals, 99% get eaten alive as babies. So when you say that this is going to cause more of that than compared to billions of years, do you not see how that just doesn't make any sense?
So how many things are killed?
You're being irrational.
How I understand your point.
If you actually think that billions of years of suffering is less than an extinction, then you're very ignorant and naive, basically.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, that like a baby deer gets eaten alive by a hyena or whatever, and it suffers, right? And I'm sure that happens on a much larger scale than I'm able to comprehend. But again, you are advocating for people to come to my home and murder my family.
What about animals? So you agree with animal extinction?
I don't agree with animal extinction.
Why not?
Why should they?
Because they're suffering terribly. They're going through lives of hell.
Yeah. So again, I think you're taking this very, just because one is suffering doesn't mean that.
Well, how many is too many?
I mean, you could say one is too many, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So your solution is to murder everything and everyone.
So do you really think that extinction creates more murder than it prevents? Especially for animals.
I mean, I guess I'll retract on what I said earlier, that like maybe, if you go for billions of years, there will be more death.
Even hundreds of years.
Than
even just a few years would actually be. Even the thing is, right? Extinction doesn't actually cause any suffering, right? It immediately prevents suffering, so it doesn't actually cause suffering. So it immediately provides safety from a bad life and a worse death, right? A natural death will be worse than euthanasia. So, you're not making any sense by saying that causes more suffering than the billions of years of extreme suffering that it prevents.
The biggest problem here, though, is that you're going to have to go around and hold people down against their will.
Right, but that's going to happen.
Take their life from them.
But do you think that will happen more or less if we do extinction?
A lot. I mean, there's a difference between.
So you think making suffering
going house to house and unaliving every individual?
You think making suffering impossible causes more suffering?
I'm sorry?
So you think making suffering impossible causes more suffering?
In the long term, no.
So you're just being short-sighted, basically. And how does euthanasia cause suffering to animals?
I don't think it necessarily does.
Right, so you're talking nonsense, right? You're done. You're out of here. You're finished. Okay, moving on. We've got Zero coming up next, or whoever else is in the queue. Let's see. Okie dokie. Bringing on whoever's in the queue. Johnny coming up next. Hello.
Hey, James, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, right on, man. Hey, couple things. Questions and I guess commentary. But I do appreciate it. Again, James, thank you very much for having this platform, for being open enough to discuss it. I do applaud it, and I see that it does take a lot of bravery to do this. And I see the heroism and the genuine compassion you do have. It's the second time I've been on live, and I feel the compassion you have. I sense it. In any way you can quantify that as a human, I understand it, and I see it from an intellectual perspective. I cannot seem to find a reasonable intellectual perspective on which you are wrong completely. Every point you hit.
The thing is, if there were a different way, we would be doing it, right? If literally, right, if there were a different way to end all suffering, we would be going behind that. Right? It's not because we're obsessed with extinction or a non-existence. It's literally just the logical thing. And, nobody's really been able to provide a better argument, right? Even the last guy, right? He started out really strongly against it. And by the end of it, he's like, okay, I give up, basically.
Right. And that's where I'm getting at on an intellectual perspective. And I understand that's the main kind of that's what we fundamentally can share is our intellectual capacities about which to understand ourselves in the world and what we should do in it and with it. And that's my background is I'm more of a philosophical guy. So my struggle inherently is I want to almost romanticize or give a poetic view or the heartfelt view. And when I try to apply that intellectually, then that's where the rub sort of comes in, and then it's like I'm back at square one. I'm like, I keep finding, for whatever reasons, I can't seem to reduce everything on an intellectual level because it would have to suggest that my understanding of suffering is that I know enough about suffering that, yes, it is so abhorrent, it must be ended. However, there's so much more on any different level that I do not understand that I can't quantify, but because like you say, the mere fact of the severe intensity of any and all suffering, and to allow a little bit of it is to access or admit that all of it should happen.
Yeah.
Even that at an intellectual level, yep, I can't find a fallacy with your arguments. But then to say that, that justifies that I know every other subject enough to say now I can make a definitive decision to say.
The thing is, they can evolve, right? They will evolve to suffer more. Basically, life literally, from the very start, from single-celled organisms, it's literally a journey of being able to suffer more and more and more. Because the more you can suffer, the more you can, survive and dominate, basically.
Right,
but for the unlucky ones, that means even more extreme suffering, basically. So,
I've always had a problem with that.
The thing is, life is always just going to keep going on that trajectory, right? Thousands of years from now, there will be, life forms on the planet that have developed additional ways to suffer, basically. So it's always going to keep happening.
Yeah, and that's what I was curious about. So, like, again, to finish that, intellectually, I cannot, on an intellectual level, no, I can't convince the intellect, but when I go to other levels, like I said, the philosophical level, yes, there are things I kind of rub against, but then, beyond, if there is such a thing of beyond my own personal perspective or consciousness.
The thing is, we have to put safety first. We have to help those who need it right now. That's the only thing, there's nothing worth, thinking about further, right? When we have extreme suffering and we know how to help it. We can prioritize helping and taking action to help those who are trapped in lives of hell right now. We should care about them. We should care that it is unacceptable. And again, most people are just not thinking of how extreme it can be. Most people are fantasizing it, making a fantasy, they're romanticizing it.
Yep.
And they think it's not that bad.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yes, that's the emotional level. Is when we get caught too much in our emotions, then it, like I said, you even mentioned it. There is a friction there. And if we get lost in that, and I don't want to get lost in that, I want to make as clear-headed decision as possible and understanding.
Well, yeah, take your time and think it through. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Read our website, watch more videos, and yeah. So by all means, think it through more. But
I had a question.
We do have to take action and do activism, basically. And if you're not going to do activism for this, you should do it for something else at least.
Yeah, you're right.
Activism is basically superior to philosophy. It's action instead of inaction.
Yes,
it's actually helping people instead of just reading a book for fun.
Yeah, and that's why I appreciate, that, man, for you to be, to do things, that to actually, like, even in philosophy, they say the fool that does something versus the thinker that sits in bed and thinks all day, he actually has something to show for it. He gets more done than the wise person is just sitting alone thinking, so there's wisdom in that. And that's where, when I get to the values of virtue, then that's where the rub really comes in. We're like, oh man, I don't know if I could fully agree, but is it in my realm in that thought, thought becomes less of an importance, and yet again, suffering is still there. And what you said about life tends to enhance itself through increasing suffering. Yes. And I'm curious about that. So would you assume reasonably that the universe tends to just perpetuate this cycle?
Absolutely. Yeah. The way we see the universe is that it's just one big disaster, basically. That it just, the entire thing just grows extreme suffering, essentially. So we need to shut it down as fast as possible.
Right, because I had a theory that it either it's static or as it expands, it then contracts over eons, and then repeats the cycle. So if this is an inevitability,
well, we have to try and prevent it and do as much as we can, push the limits to see how much we can prevent.
I see. Yeah, this is some exploration. But yes, thank you, James. I will explore it further. You gave me a lot to digest and think about. So again, appreciate it. And
yeah, thank you, Johnny. Thank you for coming on, and join our Discord as well. The link is on my TikTok profile. Super cool guy. Hello,
can
how
you
you
hear me?
doing? Yeah, how's it going? You'll have to stay on the app for us to be able to hear you. But yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah. So your premise is that, suffering bad in order for suffering to like cease to be, everybody's gotta cease to be. But first of all, I have to disagree with one, that suffering is bad. Two, in order for you to like,
What about extreme
disable
suffering?
to
What about
get rid
extreme
of,
suffering?
what, pardon?
What about it like really extreme suffering where your entire life is pure
No,
hell?
that is bad. That is bad. Like, there's definitely levels to it, right? We can't just like bunch it in like.
Yeah, but we can say that, a life of extreme hell is unacceptable, right? It's the worst thing possible. It shouldn't be allowed, right? We should provide safety from that.
You're saying that nobody should suffer, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's not fair.
Okay, it's not fair. But you do understand, in order for that to happen, like your point of view, you would have to create suffering at an unimaginable, never
Well,
before
no,
seen
no. The thing
scale.
is, you're wrong.
There
You're
is
wrong.
not an
You're-
off
no,
switch. You
listen,
would have to
listen,
have a nuclear
listen to me.
holocaust.
Listen to me. So, euthanasia for animals, that doesn't actually cause suffering. It prevents suffering. It provides immediate safety from suffering, from pain. It's usually painless. It provides safety from a bad life and from a bad death, right?
No,
Their
there is no
natural death.
painless off switch. Have you been
Their
euthanized?
natural death.
Can you for
Listen,
certain say?
Listen, their natural death will be a lot worse, okay? And it's a lot less suffering compared to billions of years of more of the worst suffering possible.
How do you know euthanasia is painless? Have you ever been
It
euthanized?
doesn't matter. Look, even if we had to torture everyone for 10,000 years, it would still be less suffering than billions of more years of suffering.
Look, like, your premise is that, well, euthanasia alleviates suffering because it's painless. Number one, you don't know that. Number
Do you
two,
not realize how extreme the suffering in the world is?
I do. But what
Okay.
you're proposing is
So you think euthanasia?
what you're
is worse
proposing
than-
is way worse. What you're
How?
proposing, yes,
So
yeah, absolutely.
you think euthanasia is worse than billions of years of extreme suffering?
Yeah, euthanasia en masse,
Is that a
like
yes?
at
Is
one
that a yes?
point.
Is that a yes?
What you're saying is to
So you
euthanize
think
everybody
that-
at the same point in
It doesn't have to
time
be
at
the
this.
same- It doesn't have to be at the same time.
Okay, but then how do you do it? Like cease to be all at once,
It
no
doesn't have to
pain,
be
no
all at
suffering.
once. It doesn't have to be all at once.
Okay, but then if it doesn't have to be all at once, then think about the people that refuse to get euthanized and they're gonna
So what
suffer.
about
They're gonna
animals? What about animals? They're the majority of the population on the planet.
sure.
Well,
I'm sure
what?
but they don't have a say because they're not like
Yeah,
they don't have the level of
exactly.
consciousness we
So-
do.
So that's why we should look after them and do the right thing for them, not just allow them to, keep getting tortured in the meat grinder of nature, where over
Dude,
99
it's not a torture. It's a dance. It's part of life. There's
so-
ups and
so
downs.
If you saw a baby get eaten alive, would you
Right.
would you say that's just life?
Yeah, it sucks, but it's life. In the same way, when I see a beautiful
you
piece
wouldn't
of
say that's a bad thing. If you saw a human,
no, it
baby
is a
get
bad thing. The same way I see
Oh,
a healthy
wow.
baby. No,
Okay,
let me
so
finish
it's
now.
not-
No,
it's
let me
not
finish.
just
Let me finish.
life. No. Come on, you're done. Come on.
Oh,
If you would really see a human baby get eaten alive and just say, "Oh, that's just life," then you're not a serious person to begin with. Like, come on. And animals don't deserve it either, right? So it doesn't matter how much humans are suffering. If you think about it, most animals are getting eaten alive. David,
Hey, I just wanted to follow up on something before because you kicked me off. So again, I need to get down to the nitty gritty here. I know you want euthanasia, but what if again, my 1-year-old daughter here, and I don't want you to unalive her because you're like the leader of this mass euthanasia campaign.
what's your point, David?
So are you going to come here and hold her down and unalive my 1-year-old daughter? Is that what you want?
Do you think that's the worst thing that could happen?
I asked you, are you going to come here? If I say no, I'm not taking part in your unalive campaign.
Okay,
Are you
so
going to send a
the
crew
reason
to my
we do it
house?
is because worse things can happen, right? It will literally be protecting them from even worse things happening.
Yeah, so I said no, I'm not going to do it, and you're not going to do it to my family. You're going to send a bunch of cronies to my house and unalive me and my daughter.
Yeah.
You are literally Adolf Hitler 2.0.
Well, no, because
And
Hitler
this is a
wasn't trying
fucking
to make-
cult.
Hitler wasn't trying to make suffering impossible.
You should literally go kill yourself. And your cult
Look, the thing is that you can blame me for being a bad guy for that, right? But he's the one literally putting his daughter into infinite danger, right? There's nothing stopping her from breaking the world record for the worst life ever lived. Can you tell me that there is? Can you tell me that there's a guarantee that she won't live the worst life ever lived? No, no, you can't. And nothing can possibly guarantee that 100% like extinction can. Okay, so who's really the bad guy here? The one providing safety or the one putting someone into infinite danger for no reason? Hello, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, do you have any questions for me? Hello, PhD.
What's the yeah? What's the goal?
Yeah, to end all suffering.
No, no, no. I mean, like,
That's a good goal, right?
how would you do it?
With
Yeah, no, I didn't agree at first, but I think it's
you have some audio issues. It's difficult to hear you. But it sounds like you're saying you support the
okay. I'll
movement.
come back later.
Yeah, no worries. But it sounds like you're supporting the movement. So thank you for your support. Keep on rocking. And let's get some more people into the queue. Let's get some more fresh faces on. Let's hear some more opinions. Let's keep going. Okay, great. What are people saying? The host keeps begging the question. Okay, we'll come up on stage. Let's talk it through. Hello, how you doing?
Hi,
Yes, hello.
James.
Yes, how are you?
Um, I'm good. I'm good. You're actually serious about killing everyone.
No, life is going to do that much more. So we want to make that impossible, right? To minimize that.
So what exactly are you doing? You're trying to kill everyone, or
So we're doing peaceful activism to get people together who are going to make extinction possible. We have to run the world as a government. There's no other way to do a proper job. So it might be difficult, but that's the only right thing to do to end all suffering. And then we would start with animals and work our way up, basically. But we can't go extinct, so we have to keep reproducing until we've helped animals first. Because if we go extinct first, then they'll keep suffering for billions of more years. So yeah, we have to help those first who can't help themselves, and then we'll be turning to humanity.
but what makes you think you have the right to make that decision for everyone else?
Well, it just seems like nobody's going to stop us, basically. So we're just going to do it.
So everyone, including kids, the elderly, everyone, basically.
Yes, everyone should be safe. Nobody should be
So
in danger. Nobody should be tortured, right?
safety for you means mass extinction.
Well, we have to make suffering impossible. That's the right thing to do. In the same way that, if hell existed, right? If hell existed, you would want to close it down. Well, our universe basically is hell, right? Most life here is being tortured horrifically, basically like hell. Most animals are getting eaten alive as babies. So it's not a good thing. People are being tortured in their lives with depression, chronic pain and stuff. Lives of pure hell where they'd be better off not existing. So that's not fair. It's the ultimate harm. And we should absolutely make the ultimate harm impossible. That should be the priority at all costs.
That's weird though, because I feel like that's just nature. I feel like if you do
So if you got eaten alive, you wouldn't mind?
by what?
Well, take your pick.
What?
Take your pick. You choose.
Okay, but like that's how do I that's like fate, that's like natural.
So you didn't
That's
answer the
something
question
that's
there? You didn't answer the question. I said if you got eaten alive, you wouldn't mind? And you didn't
no,
answer
I
the question.
wouldn't.
Sorry, say
No, I
again?
wouldn't.
You
No, I
wouldn't mind.
wouldn't.
So if you
Yeah,
saw
the whole thing
but let
is
me ask you a
the whole
question.
thing
Let me
is
ask you a question.
okay,
If you saw a
okay.
human baby get eaten alive by dogs, you'd think that's okay?
No, it's okay. You need to understand that
It is
something
okay.
can be
So,
not.
so if a
Okay,
baby gets
listen,
eaten alive, it's
listen.
okay.
Okay, listen,
It
listen. I'm
sounds
gonna
like you're
explain
dodging the
to
question
you.
here. It sounds like you're
No,
dodging.
I'm not. I actually want to answer you. I
Okay,
want to
go on
answer
then.
your
Go on then.
question.
Okay, go for it.
I'm explaining just because something is morally wrong doesn't mean that it's not natural. You know? Like
Yeah,
natural,
but
even though we
so
did we
again,
did
so you're saying if it's natural, it's okay. So you still haven't answered the question. Would you like to be eaten alive?
and I'm telling you, your question is not reasonable
So
because something can be
you're not
morally
answering the
wrong.
question. You can't answer the question, right? Because you're irrational, and you know that if you answer that question, your entire position crumbles to dust, basically, right? It crumbles to dust. So that's what we do on this show. We expose people for being irrational, and yet we show them what is rational. Hello, how you doing? Hello. Okay. AFK. Moving on. We've got Nikita joining us next. Bringing them on the stage now. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes, loud
Okay,
and clear.
so I have a question. You know how your goal is to achieve like total extinction?
Yeah.
My question is, how are you gonna do that? Like, wouldn't it be impossible? Because there'll be millions of people that are gonna retaliate. Like, it's just futile in the
Yeah,
end.
well, no, we have to try, basically, for the sake of those who are suffering, right? They're relying on us to try.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've got billionaires, millionaires with power. You're gonna go against governments, presidents with military
You're
power.
not going to scare us off, okay? I don't know who's paying you, but you're not going to. No, I'm joking.
No, no, no.
But
I just want to
you're
be
not going to scare
realistic
us
here.
off, okay? Look, if you care about the victims, then you'll try anyway, even if it is difficult.
It just seems futile in the end. I mean,
Yeah,
I can see you're dedicating a lot
I
of your
don't care.
time.
I don't care, right? We don't think it is futile to try and help the victims.
Okay then.
Okay, Nikita,
All right.
thank you
Bye-bye.
for coming up. All right, moving on. We have Bestie Woof Woof joining us next. Let's see what they think. Will they agree with this?
Oh, hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
I do agree with this actually. My friend and I have been talking about it recently a lot because we're both pretty sad, and we think about how everyone is suffering all the time in little ways and big ways, and we suffer in our lives too, and then we think about the babies and the animals and all those groups that are absolutely helpless. And I think there is no actual solution other than what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess I was just coming up here curious because as people have been pointing out, like it's a hard thing to enact, and maybe you don't fully have the answers of how this would happen, but I guess you'd be curious as to how you would do it.
However we have to do it, basically. The best way we can do it, but however we have to.
Yeah, okay. And we were just curious as well about like when you started to think or feel this way.
Yes, so I was invited to the movement a year ago, and I didn't really know anything about it before then. So they explained it to me, and I said, yeah, great, how can I help?
Right. And so you've just become kind of an advocate, spreading the message, spreading the word, and trying to get people to hear
exposing
you
the
out.
extreme suffering as well, right? Because most people are ignoring and hiding from the fact that there is extreme suffering in the world. They're pretending it doesn't exist. They're saying it's okay, that we should allow it, that we should allow animals to be tortured, people to be tortured. So we have to wake the world up, basically, and we do have to change the world for the better.
So is that the movement's game plan so far, is just to bring awareness?
Well, no, we're growing the movement, gathering activists together until we have enough people to take over the world with a pro-extinction government. And because you can't do a proper job unless you're the government, right? If there's a government trying to stop you, you're not going to be able to do a very thorough and proper job. Probably not. I mean, hell, we might have to look into ways to do it against the government if it comes to that. But ideally, we would be doing it as a government, running the world ethically, and starting with animals, basically working our way up.
I see. So it would kind of be a forced thing in a way because, of course, not everyone would agree or consent to it. And I just was wondering about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, the problem is that the rational position is to favor the safety of non-existence for yourself as well over the infinite danger. There's really nothing worth living for that's worth putting yourself in infinite danger. You really have to consider just how extreme that danger is, and most people don't do that. So in the same way that animals would run away, humans are going to do it too, but ultimately it's for their own good.
Yeah, and I just have one more question, if that's
them
okay.
from reproducing as well or hurting others, right?
Yeah. And I had one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
It might be like a personal question, but I'm sure you experienced suffering as well in your life. And I was wondering, did you experience suffering to get to this point?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it probably did help. Like when I was 18, I actually had chronic pain for 3 years until I was, 21. And it magically went away, actually. But for those 3 years, it was so bad that I couldn't even talk. I was basically bedbound, couldn't even speak for 3 years, and in just constant pain, chronic pain, right? 24/7, extreme suffering.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I'm glad that's resolved, but yeah, I can see how that would be very painful and terrible to live that way. And some people I know live that way for their whole life. Like, why should they live that way? They didn't choose to be here.
Exactly. And it can be even worse than that, right?
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for coming up. Good conversation. Unfortunately, we got hit with a double restriction for no apparent reason, as usual. It was like 2 in a row. So if we get another one, we might be in trouble, basically. But we can keep going for now. TikTok is just handing out restrictions for fun at this point, unfortunately. They didn't used to do this. Like, it only started a week ago or so. But now I'm getting like 10 restrictions a day, but only on my live streams, never on my videos. So if anyone's got like ideas, that would be helpful. Joppy, hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, so I just wanted to state that I think it's amazing what you are doing, and even though we all enjoy life, I think it's really cool to let other beings suffer for our enjoyment.
Exactly. Most people's morality is so non-existent that they don't even care about animal exploitation.
I agree. And what are your thoughts on veganism?
Yeah, unfortunately, it actually causes more suffering at the minute. I've just put out a video. So the last video on my channel is a 3-minute explanation about how this, and shows all of the information as well, the charts and the graphics. And basically, animal agriculture takes up so much land, especially with all of the crops that are used to feed the animals, that it actually reduces wild animal suffering, reduces habitable land for wild animals to suffer on massively, right? So it's not by a small amount. It's not by like double or triple. It's like ridiculous. So it's like 45% of the habitable land on the planet is being used for agriculture, and 38% is forests. So that means that our agriculture is taking over the planet and getting rid of forests, basically, which actually reduces wild animal suffering. It's a good thing. A vegan world, however, would have infinitely more forests and infinitely more wild animal suffering in the trillions, right? Trillions and trillions and trillions, whereas there are around 100 billion farmed animals each year. So the numbers are completely, drastically massive for wild animals. And they suffer worse. They're not getting euthanasia, they're getting eaten alive. They're getting diseases, no safety, no food, no shelter. 99% of them get eaten alive as babies in the worst ways possible, basically. So we do want to work towards a vegan world, but right now
Yes.
to go vegan causes more suffering. So if we can, make veganism easier for everyone and also make it so that it doesn't cause more suffering to wild animals, then that's what we will be working towards. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. What does the pro-extinction movement think about euthanasia?
Yeah,
Like,
well, we support it for those that really need it, but our first line would be to encourage people to do activism to help everyone else who is suffering, instead of just your own suffering. But if you really can't, then yeah, we support it.
yes. Let the pro-extinction guy in. He's been begging for a while now.
Okay.
Thank you for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you. I'll give you a follow. Thank you, Joppy. All right, let's get the pro-extinction guy on. I've joined the wrong person there by accident. Okay, bringing them up onto stage now.
Hi.
Yeah, hello. How's it going?
Oh, wait a second. I looking for the background.
Oh, it's Luke. And Jen Dobre.
So tell me, what's up, chat? What's going on in the chat?
Should we get another guest on?
Yeah, we can come up with another opponent.
Okay, working on it now. Bog, hello. How you doing?
Yo.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us today?
No, I actually wanted to say that this is just like a really profound, beautiful movement. This really speaks to me on like a personal level, because I go around, because personally in my day-to-day life, I go around and I notice all of these creatures and animals suffering. I notice all of these little cats and dogs on the street suffering. So what I do to contribute towards the nobody suffering cause, I like to, give their heads a little bit of a twist, so just to, end their suffering. It's,
right.
I don't know, it's kind of beautiful that we get to free all of these organisms of this.
Ban. He's banned. He's blocked. He's gone. So we're against individual acts of euthanasia because they'll just be replaced. Unless you're working towards total extinction in an organized and intelligent way, it doesn't actually achieve anything. It's a waste of time. It's unethical. It's just for crazy people, basically. The smart thing to do is to work towards making total extinction happen in an organized and intelligent way, right? Because again, random acts do nothing. Those animals will just be replaced by other ones. So you have to do it in a much more organized way than that. All right, let's have a look. We have one or two people in the queue. That's a child you have as a guest. No, it's not, David. You are a creep. It's not a child. It's an adult, actually. All right, Nikita.
Hey, do you remember me?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, so when you talked about the you're still trying for the victims, right? People who are suffering.
Yeah.
So why try when you know the end is pointless? Like, it's just futile. People are going to suffer either way. People won't listen to you. Like, there's going to be millions of people trying to retaliate. There's no point of dedicating your time trying to promote total extinction, because it's realistically, it will never happen.
Oh, ye of little faith. It has to happen, okay?
But
it's
it
never going to go
won't.
away.
You're going against people who have so much power. You're going against people who will
We don't
able
care
to
about
kill
that.
you in seconds. Like,
We're
it's
not
just
scared.
pointless.
Yeah, well, that's, we're willing to take that risk.
It's just pointless. Just
Well,
futile.
you worry about yourself. We'll worry about ourselves.
Right, you know I'm right.
No,
James,
I
let's
don't.
be realistic
No,
here.
you're just pessimistic. That's all.
No, I'm being realistic.
No, you're just looking for excuses to not do activism.
No, I know where you're coming from, though. Like,
and you're also putting yourself above the importance of the sufferers, right? So you're basically engaging in oppression right now.
whatever. Okay then.
Yeah,
Bye
right.
bye.
So she's advocating for us to be selfish, to only care about ourselves and to not put ourselves in danger in order to help others, even though, they're suffering way worse than we are. So, if you're going to come up here and tell us to be selfish, the answer is going to be no. Ezra, how you doing?
Yo, I just want to tell you I love you and I'm your #1 fan and I hope this goes well.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. And I've banned a couple people in the chat, like ZNZ. If there's anyone else that needs banning, let me know. Like maybe David, he's a bit of a creepy guy. Let's mute him at least. Hello, how you doing?
Now, James,
Yes.
you seem like a very intelligent person.
Do I?
Do you think there's any other possible way, like another way of solving this problem?
No, basically. And the thing is, right, even if you said to me, James, you can live in, basically perfect conditions, but there's still no certainty of safety, I'd say, yeah, no, thank you, right? I don't want to be trapped in a life of extreme hell, even if there's a tiny chance of it happening. I don't want that risk. I don't want a gun to my head at all times, and no life should have to live in that, right? So only the total safety of extinction is what you want. You wouldn't want anything less than that. You don't want, because there's no such thing as like 99% safety. It's either total safety or total danger, right? Extreme danger of extreme suffering, a life of extreme hell. You cannot make that impossible without extinction. There's simply no way to make it physically impossible, because without omniscience, there are unknowns, and they basically are equivalent to infinite danger. So, if things can go wrong, if there's no certainty, if there's no absolute 100% guarantee of safety, then, what is it? It's literally infinite danger. You can't limit how badly it goes wrong, how badly you're going to suffer or others will suffer. So, there is no alternative realistically. And again, even if you could provide, the best conditions possible, but still no certainty of safety, I wouldn't want it, and nobody should want it. Nobody should have it. We shouldn't allow anyone to exist in any danger ever.
When would you want this to happen? Like in the next 50 years,
Well, we want to grow the movement as fast as possible, but with intelligent people, the right people. And it's better to actually do it slower and to do it more correctly and more thorough and more vast than to rush it. So on one hand, it is urgent.
So it could possibly happen before you even, it could possibly happen even after you pass, or even myself.
It could happen in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Anything is possible,
thanks for
right?
that.
Yeah, thank you for coming up.
You.
Like the other guest, Nikita, she couldn't see that anything was possible, but we're actually much more confident about extinction. Look, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen in our lifetimes, but I think it is possible, right? I think anything is possible, and we are, growing the movement, developing it. We're getting stronger. We're getting more powerful, right? We're growing. So don't underestimate us. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream there for a bit because I did get like 3 or 4 restrictions, and they're pretty dangerous for the channel. So I'll probably make some videos instead, because that is much safer. You don't get any restrictions if you do that, only when you're live streaming, but it does put your channel in danger. TikTok obviously doesn't like extinction that much. Anyway, I might stream a bit later.
Maybe before that, let you know, guys, that I'm going to live stream on Anti-Bot Experience.
You're going to live stream now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Luke is going to continue doing debates for extinctionism, the exact same thing that I'm doing, the exact same thing, similar background. So they're going to have guests on, they're going to have debates, discussions, the exact same as what I'm doing. So go and follow Luke.
Anti-Bot Experience, it's a different account.
Right. Well, you can also join my group chat on TikTok, and we can push you the link to our live streams for other people as well. So you can find the way to join that on my profile. One of the restrictions has just been removed, so that's nice. If the other one gets oh no, that's bad. It's a 3-day restriction. Yeah, that's really bad. I got hit with a 3-day heavy restriction again, which means that my live streams are effectively nuked. So yeah, that's it. TikTok's done it. It's nuked me again, unfortunately, and it says appeal not approved. So it's kind of a GG. Oh well, it happens. That's we got banned off of Reddit. We get banned all the time. I'm not getting banned, but it does kind of make it harder to get debates and people because no one will be joining into the stream. We do have one person in the queue, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what it is that's triggering all of these strikes and restrictions. One thing I was thinking is that there's not enough movement, but I've been doing pretty well with that, I think. And I don't think we've had too many aggressive debates really, or anything too bad. Yeah, we don't know. We just don't know. All right, Psych is coming up now. Psych is joining us. Psych, hello.
Hello. So, can I touch you?
Okay, another weirdo. Let's permanently ban them.
Like, if you want.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, good riddance. Okay, yeah, I'll see you all later, guys. And check out Luke, who's going to go live now and do debates to take over from me. All right, we'll see you all in a bit. And we'll also put the link to that in our Discord. You can find the link on our on my profile, basically. So yeah, join the Discord. We'll put the link to that live stream so you can keep watching debates. Luke's going to start doing